Here we are inside the Bailey Unicorn Seville. If we firstly come to the control panel just here, we can turn the 12 volts on. Once we've done this, we can check the voltage of the leisure battery just by pressing this button here. Beside the master switch, we then have the water pump. Water pump needs to be on, so we can get water out of the taps and fill the boiler up if it's been drained. Whenever the water pump is running, the light will come on. Beneath that, we then have the master switch for the internal lights. They can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. And we also have the awning light. Next, if we come across to the Aldi control panel for the heating and hot water, we turn it on just here. Once it's turned on, it will let you know if you have main supply connected to the van, and then will also give you an internal temperature. If we now press menu, it will bring up its basic functions, and the top one just here is the thermostat for the heating, so plus and minus depending on what temperature you would like it to be inside the caravan. After that, we then have hot water on, hot water on boost. The boost facility is extremely handy if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost as we are at the moment and the heating's running, it will turn the heating off because it needs the extra power to be able to do it. So if we just drop it back down to normal mode, even though we've now in a sense turned the hot water on, we haven't picked a power source yet, so the system hasn't actually fired up. So the first one we've got here is main supply with a little picture of the lightning strike, and we can run on mains electricity using 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts, just depending on the ampage of the site that we're on. If we don't have main supply, we can run on gas. If we have both supplies available to us, we can run in dual fuel mode. Dual fuel mode is extremely handy, especially in the winter months, if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It will only use the gas as it's required. If we now press the little picture of the spanner, we will now go into the settings menu, and the first one we have here is just so we can set the correct time of day, day of week, etc. for if we're going to be using timers. After that, we have a little picture of a moon, which is the night timer, so we can turn it on and off just here. We can set the temperature we would like it to be at night time, and then we can set the time when night mode is active, whether it's for all days of the week, and then when night mode stops. We can also, by highlighting this one here, invert the backlight, so this screen goes to black, the writing goes to white, and we can also make it so that there's no hot water made throughout that period. Next we have, in a sense, the same again, but for the daytime. Instead of having multiple timers, what we can do is just have one delayed start and stop to the system. Prioritise is what the system prioritises in using when in that dual fuel mode. So at the moment it will prioritise mains over gas, so it'll only use the gas as it's required. If you are on a very low amp site, what you can do is flip it on its head so it consumes more gas, less electric. If you don't think the internal thermostat is quite correct, you can tweak it by a few degrees each way, just here. And if we now arrow down, we then have brightness of the screen, etc. just here. This one is called antimicrobial. If you are going to be using this, A, it needs to be turned on like so, but secondly, you do have to have the night mode set. And then basically what will happen at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, the boiler will come on to rapidly heat up to kill off any bacteria that may be in it. Pump settings, just leave set to thermal, do not have it on continuous. We do not want the fluid going around the radiators when it's not required. If you prefer to have button beeps on or off. Language. External start, you do have to have additional software added, as it were, to be able to control this via an app. These ones are not used on this particular model. The only one I can activate is this middle one here, which I will show you in a moment. Service, again, more for the workshop, but if you do go into here, it will let you know what everything is up to. So it will give you temperature of water and the ethylene glycol for the radiators. Full factory reset if there is a problem with the unit. If we now go into installed accessories, we can now activate the load monitor. And if we go back up, you will now see we can access it. So if you arrive on site and you know how many amps the site is, you can then pick on here. So let's say we're on a lowish 10 amp site. It now doesn't matter that we're necessarily running 3 kilowatts, it will limit itself. And because that is now an activated function, it will appear here where it says A. So we can then go straight back to it, turn the load monitor up or down, or turn it completely off. The location of the boiler itself is just underneath the bench seat just here. So if we just remove the cushions, we can see the actual Aldi boiler just here, and then the drain valve for the boiler is just located in this corner just here. So it's just that yellow lever flapped over. To drain the boiler down for travel and for winterization, all you need to do is flip it up like so. Make sure the water pump is turned off, or otherwise if it's on, it will just be now frantically trying to refill the boiler back up again. So to refill it, flap it back over, drop your submersible in your aqua oil, turn your water pump on, and then you will then, usually as a rule, need to then start running your taps. They will cough and splutter as they force the air out, and then once they're running freely like this one is now, close, and then the system will fully prime. Next we have the television aerial. So to raise the TV aerial, we just need to undo the collar just here, and then we can raise the mast. This green square here represents the back of the aerial, so we know which way it's pointing. H stands for horizontal. What we can do is flip into the vertical position just like so for additional tuning if required, and all we do is we just turn the tail just here. The digital amplifier is just here. We can turn it on and off just on the top and control the boost just here. The radio is also basically plugged in to this aerial as well, so you may need to raise it for a decent radio signal. To turn the head unit on, just hold the button in that says source. We then have volume control just here. We can connect up via USB and auxiliary underneath. CD in here, eject on here. As you can see, this is a DAB radio as well, but if we press the source button, we can go through to auxiliary, FM mode, AM, and then back to DAB again. To turn it back off, just hold the source button in. For travel, make sure that The television aerial is back down. And then tighten. Never over tighten these because you can split the plastic. Next we have the hob. So we have the electric hot plate that will work on main supply. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. And then everything else is gas. So push in, twist, and press the igniter. Then beneath we have the grill. Same again, push in, twist. And the oven. Beneath the oven you will find a plug plugged in at the back here, which is just for the hot plate, and then you will find the majority of the gas isolation taps just here as well. They are all in the on position and quite frankly can stay like that. I always say smell gas in the van, turn the gas bottle off. Above we have the microwave. It's plugged in the overhead locker just above the fridge. Do make sure that the plate is removed for travel, and then it behaves like most microwaves. We have quick start just here, stop, we can rotate for time, we have defrost, power settings all just here. The fridge operates on this dial here. We are currently running it on gas, and if we're going to run it on gas, we literally come to the temperature control, hold it in, and then push the igniter. And once it's ignited and lit, this little red line here will drift out of the white and into the green to let you know it's lit. As soon as we turn it to something else, it will automatically put itself back out again. So after gas, we then have 12 volt maintain for when we're towing, to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. Then we have main supply, and then off. Beneath the fridge you will find the consumer unit. So we have the main strip switches just here, so we have the individual MCBs, RCD and the test button just here, and then beneath that we then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they're all labelled up. The leisure battery itself is located in the floor, so if we just pull the carpet up, you can see it's just here. And then we also have the location of the wind point for the spare wheel that sits underneath. So we just remove this little cover just here and then attach the spare wheel winding tool and then wind it down. In the overhead locker just here we have the solar panel regulator. We do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. So currently you will see there's a solid green light on letting you know that the battery is as good as fully charged. Whenever this is actually popping a charge into the battery, it will steadily flash green. If we now move into the washroom, we have the shower cubicle just here. basin just here. Cassette toilet here. So to open to the cassette, just slide the grey handle across just here, which will open it up. Push the blue button to flush, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you find that you're trying to remove it and you have resistance, it's more than likely somebody has left this open. We have a level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. If we now go into the wardrobe, you'll find the freestanding table just here, and also the header tank for the Aldi heating solution that goes around the radiators. We just need to make sure that the fluid level is between the minimum and the maximum. It is always best to take your reading once the heating is up to temperature, as it will expand slightly. If it does need topping up, we just remove the collar, unscrew the cap just here, and then add the top-up solution. Do make sure that you are using the correct Aldi top-up solution.